And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. I'm wearing a shirt I used to wear in high school. It still fits. It doesn't fit great. I normally like the shirts that kind of hug the guns. For those who are listening, I'm wearing my Trivium Into the Mouth of Hell We March shirt because I just absolutely love this song. And there is a curse word on the back that I can't say right at the very beginning of the show. But anyways, I just wanted to get a show out in the middle of the week because I always try to do a show Wednesday night. Didn't have a guest this week, so this will be a little bit more of a chill show where we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that's been going on lately and loosely my thoughts around it. And of course, if people want to chat about whatever, I'm always here to read your chats, preferably super chats as well, and all that good stuff. So everything being psyops and terrorism, if you will, as much as I refrain from using that word. And 2025, oh my. But anyways, hopefully everyone's having a fantastic week. Hopefully your year is starting off absolutely incredibly. I know mine is. Speaking of that, B Cornish in the chat. Good to see you, brother. We had our first A Common Crown practice in about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe almost a month. Yeah, about 3 or 4 weeks, I want to say. Who that? And yeah, it was good. We played really, really well. Write new material. New material sounds really, really good. And I'm just stoked as I could be for everybody to hear it. So, with that being said, we'll get into today's show, but please, before we do that, hit all the links below to figure out where you can find me, everything I got going on. Of course, I have a new affiliate through Tiger Fitness, and it's a lot easier to use where you go to tigerfitness.com/Kyle M, and it will give you my affiliate link. And if it doesn't, then you should be able to use code Kyle at checkout to get 10% off at Tiger Fitness to get all your supplements, get you all jacked and tan. As you can see, I'm a very, very big fan. I have some of the Ruckus pre-workout sitting in the fridge right now because I was going to work out yesterday morning, but I was still sore, so I decided not to. So I got my workout in today, but I'm going to probably drink that Friday morning. It's the sour gummy bear flavor, and the sour gummy bear flavor is fantastic. It is really, really good. Deemed fit through the link below as well for all the clothes that my wife and I wear when we're working out. Not all of it, but some of it. And it looks great. Sarah M25 at checkout. And of course, Fox and Sons Coffee. Use code Kyle at checkout to let Steven know that I sent you. Fantastic coffee as always. And without further ado, guys, let's rock and roll. And we're back. Anyways, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're listening to this. Hopefully you are doing well. 2025 has already started off very, very interesting to say the least. There was the New Year's Day truck incident where let me make sure I got his name right. Down New Orleans. I want to make sure I say his name right. I'm sorry, I should have had this already pulled up. Okay, Shamsu Dinjabar. That was the guy's name who drove a Ford F-150 Lightning into a crowd of people down in New Orleans. A friend of mine had said close up the border, and yeah, I agree. And I'll probably talk about this a little bit today. There's a guest that I'm planning on getting on the show that I know everybody knows and that I think everybody would like, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit more. But I've definitely changed my mind when it comes to immigration. I used to be a little bit more of a or like not more legal immigration, but like I was of the mind that like highly skilled immigration isn't bad. But I definitely changed my mind more recently to where I'm a little bit more like, an immigration moratorium is probably reasonable. And speaking of kind of things when it comes to immigration and adding people to the population, how about annexing Canada and Greenland? Like, at first it kind of seemed like a joke. Like, I guess that was a meme a couple years ago where Trump retweeted a Trump Tower in Greenland, and just like, everybody had their yucks about it and then kind of went on about their business. It seems to be like a legit thing. I mean, Charlie Kirk, Eric Trump, and I think Don Jr. all went to Greenland together and were greeted. Um, Okay. I don't think we should be welcoming any more, people or territories in until we can kind of fix what's going on in our own roof. And same deal with Canada. And I've made this point ad nauseum. I haven't seen too many other people make it, but and that's kind of surprising to me. But Canada voted in Trudeau. They voted in Justin Trudeau. Do we want those people voting in American elections? Kamala Harris only lost by what was it, like 4 million votes? Now, granted, the Electoral College, she got smoked, but when it came to the popular vote, it wasn't like Trump completely blew her out of the water. Do we really want to welcome all those Canadians in who voted for Trudeau? I don't think things are going to get that much better. In fact, I think they're going to get worse over the next 4 years. And I don't think that's going to look good for another Republican administration. If we annex Canada, now we have a whole bunch of angry Canadians that are living in a shithole country now, because that's essentially what Canada is. I mean, I literally had a friend DMing me the other day because he was asking me about how to kind of work around like a joint popping, and he said like everything felt fine. It just scared the hell out of him. Um, and he said he had an appointment, a referral from 2020 that he still to this day has not seen a doctor over. And we want to annex Canada. Come on. We don't want Canada. Like, if we are going to annex anywhere, why can't we annex Mexico? And I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying we should do any of this because I don't think we should. That being said, if we are going to annex territory, why not annex Mexico? Yeah. Well, I mean, they're seeming kind of serious about it. But anyways, good to see you guys, Eddie Grimm and John Smith. Great to see you both. But they're really throwing this out here. I don't want Canada. If we're going to annex anywhere, let's annex Mexico. They didn't vote in Trudeau. They got nice weather. They got beaches, and it's to the south. And that kind of settles our whole border dispute, where we can kind of settle that and then have jurisdiction over the cartels and stuff like that. So we don't necessarily have to bomb the living shit out of our own southern border, which is a little bodacious to say the least. We can send in the military like we should do anyways, if it is that much of a problem, and kind of handle that as necessary. Yeah, that's it. That's literally what I'm saying. Is annex Mexico. Dad, you would be a huge fan of this. Annex Mexico, so that way we don't have to use a passport. We could just fly down to Punta Cana or whatever the hell it is. I'm not familiar with Mexico geography, but annex somewhere nice, man. Let's drink some shit on the beach. Like, come on, we got Florida. Florida's awesome. Why not like expand that awesomeness over to Mexico, right? Oh, geez. So, and then like I don't know shit about Greenland, but like let's fix what's going on over in our own roof. And I want to make this tweet, but we were supposed to get mass deportations and an end to the war in Ukraine, but then all Trump's advisors are saying that they're not, that sending weapons to Ukraine is still on the table. They're not going to stop arms shipments. And then Trump comes out literally like a week ago saying, "Oh no, we need lots of people coming in to do all these jobs." Like, it's looking like a rug pull, and it's mostly because Elon Musk donated $277 million to Trump's campaign, which like I'm good with. I've long said that I think the PayPal mafia guys, so like your Elon Musk, your David Andreessen, David Sachs, Mark Andreessen, Vivek Ramaswamy, they're the most positive influence on Trump right now because they're very domestically focused. And their domestic focus is on the managerial state, as in the state that kind of makes everybody's life a living hell. All the regulations, the bureaucracy, and the bureaucrats, and the people who are receiving a salary from the government, and not like, 60, 70 grand a year, which like is a decent enough living. These people are making buku bucks off of taxpayer dimes. They're focused on getting rid of those things. Do I think they're going to be capable of doing it? No, honestly, I don't. But the fact that they're focused on that rather than on fighting a war with China or fighting a war with Russia or wiping Gaza off the map, that's a much more preferable influence on any president than it would be, the Miriam Adelson who gave Trump $100 million, or the Steve Bannons who are super hawkish on China and Iran, or Howard Lutnick or those guys. And I'd much rather the PayPal mafia guys who are very business oriented be kind of pulling Trump's ear and directing him in the direction of getting rid of bureaucracy and making the life of the average American and business mind Americans much better. I think that's something that we could all probably agree on, is that simplifying the tax code and getting rid of bureaucrats is just a net positive for anybody. So I wanted to talk about Luigi Mangione a little bit because that was something that was in the news and it's kind of died down. But I don't think the guy they got is the guy who killed the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Johnson, or whatever the hell his name was. Um, if you look at him when he's being taken in versus all the old pictures of him, he definitely looks a little bit different. His face is a lot more sunken in all the pictures of him being, taken into court and all that. Um, he looks leaner, which allegedly he had a back injury. So could there be something there as to why he's not working out that made him get leaner? Um, I don't know. But that being said, him being taken in and like being caught in a McDonald's, a health nut being caught in McDonald's, which, I heard that he loves McDonald's. That's fine, whatever. Having the manifesto, the weapon that you used to kill the CEO with, and all this other stuff, just conveniently in McDonald's, right where the police need to find them. There's definitely more going on here. Number one job of bureaucracy is to protect the bureaucracy. It is, but to Vivek's credit, and it's a lot of this is rhetoric. I take everything I hear from politicians campaigning, especially, but even when they're in office, it's rhetoric. You got to kind of wait to see what they're actually going to do. The rhetoric sounds fantastic. I mean, even Mike Johnson, who I've been an outspoken critic of, had said that we need to reduce the size and scope of government. He said that he wants to work with the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, to help reduce the burden on taxpayers and reduce government bureaucracy. Do I think that's going to happen? I hate to be that guy. No. But like you said, the number one job of bureaucracy is to protect the bureaucracy. Well, if you have people with more political power and more political say and the ear of the president willing to come in and smash some of that bureaucracy, could that be done? I don't know. I could hope. I definitely hope. But we have yet to see. Uh we need to make a climate more small business can thrive again. It's been a long time since we've all done well. Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. And like, obviously, the PayPal mafia guys are billionaires, right? So they're going to be a little bit more oriented towards the higher class people. And um, anybody who's like looked into the stats on how much people pay taxes, it's kind of mind boggling. So anybody who makes over $80,000 a year, and I believe these are some old stats. So like, take it with a grain of salt. If you look it up, I'm sure it's probably a little bit different now. But anybody that makes over $80,000 a year actually pays, I think it's like 70 or 80% of all taxes, right? And then when you get into the top 1%, which 10 years ago when I looked this up, it was like in Pennsylvania, you had to make over $300,000 a year, like $305,000 a year to be in the top 1%. I'm sure that's way, 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 way different now. I would guess probably like $500,000 now, right? To be in the top 1%. And then obviously you have your top 1% of 1%, which is your billionaires, the PayPal mafia guys, the millionaires who have ridiculous amounts of money. And once again, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't have that. That's a debate for another day. But like the millionaires and billionaires, the people who back Trump, Mark Andreessen, David Sachs, Vivek Ramaswamy, all these PayPal mafia guys are going to be a little bit more of the mind, like they want to get rid of the bureaucratic state that's mostly inhibiting their business, as in little tech, as they call it. So, like I said, PayPal Mafia X, some of the cybersecurity stuff. They're looking to get rid of the stuff that's in their way in that respect. But I believe as a consequence of that, if they're successful, which I don't know if they will be the downstream consequence of lifting up small businesses and making smaller businesses a little bit easier to navigate in today's world because that I'm sure as you know, and all people who kind of navigate in a business world know that bureaucracy is on your neck at all times. And tax codes are incredibly complicated. And then if you miss a tax payment, well, they're not afraid to send you a bill. And then if you don't pay that bill immediately, they're not afraid to tack on fees. And those fees can be dramatic. So to go back to Luigi Mangione, yeah, I'm very, very skeptical that that's a guy who actually did it. Is it possible it's him? Sure, anything's possible, but his face is super sunken in. A guy who's obsessed with health and fitness, and like by the looks of it, either that dude had really good genetics, which is totally possible, and I would wager that he probably did, or he worked out like a motherfucker and did everything he could to keep himself in shape. Could be a combination of both, but it definitely looks like he was in pretty good shape. Guys like that do not just let themselves go over one small bump of the road. When I had a back injury, I still worked out consistently. I just kind of had to work around said back injury and kind of find exercises that didn't aggravate the back injury and make the surrounding muscle stronger. And then also work with that back injury to bring my back up to strength to now where I'm deadlifting 515 pounds again consistently and I feel fine doing it. So, to kind of go on from there, I don't think that you just kind of let yourself go and get super lean and lanky like he appears to be. And once again, that's assuming that the same person who did the perp walk is the person that did the shooting and is the same person that had we seen all the pictures of. And like I said, I'm just not entirely convinced that that's the case. Um Let me run a coffee ad real quick and we will get back into it. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the show's sponsor. We are now brought to you by Fox and Sons Coffees. You can see right here, I got the Den Blend Dark. Really enjoy that. I've been drinking a lot of their Brazil Honey Prep right here. As you can hear, there's not a lot of beans left in it because I've been drinking it quite a bit. Just tell you a little bit about Fox and Sons, why I support them and why you should too, is that Steven had started the company up in Michigan to help teach his son about entrepreneurship. I'm all about that, and I do firmly believe that in order to spread liberty in our lifetimes, we have to support those who support similar values as us. And Steven does support all the same libertarian values that I bring and talk about on the show a lot. So go to foxandsons.com, use code Kyle at checkout to get 15% off of orders $25 or more, and there's always free shipping whenever you place an order that is more than $37.99. All right, and anyways, back. So I guess the other thing that I wanted to talk about while we are all here is let's do the New Orleans attacker. This article had just came out 3 days ago, and I didn't see anybody talk about it. So I figure rather than me just kind of rehashing what everybody has already kind of beaten into your head, I would cover something that you potentially haven't seen yet. So hold up, let me get to that. All right. So the New Orleans attacker wore Meta Smart Glasses, Meta, whatever you want to call it. What else do we know? So in this video here, you can see, I'll let it play and I'll speak over it. There's no volume, so you're not missing anything if you're just listening for it. He's driving around on a street that allegedly he was the one that he drove on. And the article says the perpetrator of a deadly New Year's Day attack in New Orleans visited Louisiana City twice in the months before the attack and wore Meta glasses as he apparently scoped out the scene during the incident itself. So, as you could see here in the video, he's kind of looking around riding his bike, which I don't know how much Meta Smart glasses are. I can't imagine they're very cheap. So let me actually do something here. I'm going to look up Meta Smart Glasses. Go to shopping here. I haven't opened another tab. Okay, so yeah, they're about $300. Yeah, most of them I'm seeing are about $299. Highest price ones I found were $380. So clearly he probably spent a decent chunk of change on the glasses. Shamsu Dinjabar also traveled to Egypt and Canada in 2023, though it is not yet clear if those trips are linked to the plot. What's he going to do? Link up with the Canadian government to go kill a bunch of Americans? Like, come on. 14 people died and at least 35 people were injured as the driver of the pickup truck targeted revelers in the French Quarter in an attack that U.S. officials say was inspired by the Islamic State ISIS group. Here's what we know so far. And one thing that I did see was that he served in the military. He was a cop, and he was born and raised in Texas. He asked me if it's not a very American name. Maybe his parents were Iranian or from, Syria or something like that. Who knows? Um, how'd the attack unfold? Oh, what the hell? At 3:15 local time on New Year's Day, Jabbar drove a pickup truck through crowds gathered on Bourbon Street, known globally as one of the largest places of New Year's Eve parties in the heart of New Orleans, French Quarter. Wearing a ballistic vest and a helmet, the former U.S. Army soldier got out of the car and began firing at police officers, injuring two, investigators said. I actually didn't know that. He died following the gunfight with three responding officers, FBI said. It says he had a cooler containing improvised explosive devices. For those listening, there's a picture of a cooler. Looks like a pretty big cooler. A couple of hours before the attack, Jabbar placed two improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, in two coolers on Bourbon Street. The transmitter that was supposed to detonate the IEDs was found inside his vehicle, the FBI said. But the bombs did not go off because Jabbar did not have access to a detonator, said investigators. Well, that's a little weird. Bomb making materials were also found in nearby Airbnb where Jabbar was staying at his home in Houston, Texas. He tried to burn down the Airbnb by setting a fire in the hallways, but the flames petered out before the firefighters arrived. The white Ford he was driving was electric and rented from the platform Turo 6 weeks beforehand. Um, yeah, and like some of this stuff's weird because if I remember correctly, how did they like just get access to his Airbnb right away? Um, we talked about this a little bit on 5 till midnight, and for those listening, please make sure you go subscribe to my Monday night show with the guys from Biting the Bullet, and obviously Sam Urban and Adam Nutter. Adam was a former police officer, and he had mentioned how there were some crime scenes when he was a police officer that like were locked up for months, not just like a day or two, months on end that you couldn't get into. So, could it be possibly that this was a little bit more of a high priority case because it was so many people and because it was all in the news? They didn't want to disturb the scene of the crime. Who knows? I can't say for sure, but I think that's a plausible explanation. Now, do I know if that's the only explanation? No. Oh my god, this article is gonna drive me nuts. What we know about the suspect's travels. Lionel Murthel, or FBI special agent in charge of New Orleans field office, told a news conference on Sunday that the suspect in the attack had traveled to Cairo, Egypt in the summer of 2023. A few days later, he visited Ontario, Canada. Our agents are getting answers to where he went, who he went with, and how those trips may or may not be tied to the actions here. Jabbar also stayed at a rental home in New Orleans from the 30th of October last year for a few days, and CCTV shows him riding through the French Quarter on a bicycle wearing meta glasses that are capable of recording or live streaming. The perpetrator also visited New Orleans on the 10th of November, and investigators are still tracking his movements during that trip. Jabbar also wore a pair of smart glasses while carrying out the attack on New Year's Day, but he did not activate the live stream function, said officials. The glasses were found on him after his death. So that's pretty weird. You would think they would kind of have like some function, a recall function where they might be able to pull that from the glasses. I don't know. Who knows? I don't. But one thing that's odd about all this is that why would you have those coolers placed everywhere but not have the detonator? If you were really trying to pull something crazy off, wouldn't you have the detonator with you? Like that's something's not right about that. Did he forget it and just decide that he wanted to go on with the attack? Maybe, but I'm pretty skeptical of that. Okay, so who is Shamsu Dinjabar? The 42-year-old. Oh my God, this article is so frustrating. If you're ever wondering about what website to read from, do not read from the BBC because it has jumped me up to the top of the article so many times now. The 42-year-old U.S. Army veteran was brought up in Beaumont, a city in eastern Texas near the Louisiana border. He was raised Muslim but left the religion for many years and only recently returned to his faith, his brother said. According to a now removed LinkedIn profile, Jabbar worked in various roles in the U.S. Army, including human resources and IT, before he was discharged in 2015. He's deployed to Afghanistan from February 2009 to January 2010. His most recent address was in Houston. He studied at Georgia State University from 2015 to 2017, graduating with a degree in computer information systems. Accountancy firm Deloitte confirmed that Jabbar was hired by the company in 2021, reportedly also worked for Ernst & Young. The suspect had been married 3 times and had children from 2 relationships. His first marriage ended in 2012. His second lasted from 2013 to 2016. He married once again in 2017 before divorcing in 2022. Apparently, the dude doesn't know what the hell he's doing. You would think after 1 or 2 marriages, you would probably call it quits. But that's just me. Court records relating. Oh my God. Again. Court records relating to Jabbar's most recent divorce point to financial difficulties with his monthly expenses, including child support, exceeding his income. Separate documents reveal that his then wife had accused him of financial mismanagement and had obtained a temporary restraining order against him. Jabbar also appears to have worked in real estate, holding a license that expired in 2023. He had a criminal record relating to traffic offenses and theft. His brother, Abdur Rahim Jabbar, told Houston news outlet that his family was shocked by the incident and that their hearts go out to the victims. We're all grieving. This wasn't the man I knew. This wasn't the father, the son that I knew. And also, this isn't any representation of Islam, Muslims, or the Muslim community. Um, yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more because everybody kind of jumps up and down about Islam being this awful religion. And like, I'm not saying that I would go live in any countries in the Middle East. I wouldn't. But if you leave out the context of the terror wars over the last 20 years, and that's not to mention the foreign policy disasters prior to that, and then also the founding of Israel all the way back in 1948, um, the Middle East is a pretty brutal area, and we don't know about those politics. And on top of that, it's just a completely different culture. And when you incentivize people or you make them hate you because you've blown up and completely destroyed their countries over the last 20 years, that may drive some people to do some radical things. So, what do we know about the possible motive? During his drive from Houston to New Orleans, Jabbar posted videos online in which he professed his support for ISIS, authorities said. In one of the clips, Jabbar said he initially intended to harm his family, but decided against it, believing it would not have illustrated the war between believers and the disbelievers. It is kind of funny how they say it doesn't reflect on Islam or Muslims, but then, he kind of goes on about believers and disbelievers. Jabbar said in the video that he joined ISIS before the summer and offered a will and testament, FBI Deputy Assistant Christopher Reyes said. But the FBI said it believed Jabbar had acted alone. We've not seen any indication of an accomplice in the United States, but we are still looking at potential associates in the U.S. and outside of our borders. Investigators have so far ruled out any connection between the New Orleans attack and an explosion of a vehicle the same morning outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, which killed the car's drivers and injured 7 others. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. So security measures, I don't think that's really that important. Yeah, I think we could probably move on to the next article here after I kind of talk to you guys for a few minutes. Um, Islam has its problems, but evangelical Christianity, aka Christian Zionism, is the most blood-soaked and war-based religions and religious sects. I am far too ignorant historically to really comment on what religion would exactly be the most bloodiest. I know people talk about the Crusades and stuff like that, the Spanish Inquisition and all that. Look, I don't know. I'm not a history geek. There's certain things I have a great depth of knowledge on, and just religion and like total death tolls of religions, that's not in my forte. So I think a lot of this does kind of you can't factor out the fact that we've been arming and abetting Israel over the last, specifically about a year and a half now. And then obviously our foreign policy over the last 20 years. If he supports ISIS and they are kind of like the in pocket group for the US, as in like they never attack Israel and they're always kind of there when the US needs a boogeyman. Um, I'm sure some of those people are, genuine believers, but I'm also sure some of them probably are paid off by the CIA to always be there for, whenever the US needs a boogeyman. That being said, I think a lot of people of the Islamic faith and who are Muslim kind of look at what the US has done over in the Middle East over the last 20 years and feel anger, feel resentful, and may feel inclined to do something like this. Now, I have heard people make the argument, and once again, I'm very ignorant of Islam, so I can't really comment too much on this, but that their religion does kind of glorify sacrifice. Would that be a possible explanation and inclination of some people who commit some of these acts? Sure, could be. I don't know. I had or have a friend who had mentioned that when it came to gun laws, that murder isn't in the weapon, murder is in the mind. Very, very interesting point, and I think that's applicable here. So, continuing on, let's talk about the whole Tesla blowing up. Special Forces soldier who blew up the Cybertruck outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas used generative AI. So, we talked about this again on 5 till midnight and pretty interesting stuff. So this article was dated yesterday. I'm sure they're still finding out stuff. The highly decorated soldier who exploded Tesla's Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas used generative AI, including Chat GPT, to help plan the attack. Las Vegas police said Tuesday. A laptop, cell phone, and watch are still under review. Nearly a week after 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger fatally shot himself just before the truck blew up. Oh man, I don't know if I'm allowed to show this on YouTube, but look at that. Wow. That is a hell of an explosion. And as you can see, if you looked at the thumbnail, you saw the Cybertruck on fire. And if you're watching right now, you can see where it says Trump right there, and there is a Cybertruck on fire. A review of Livelsberger's searches through ChatGPT indicate he was looking for information on explosive targets, the speed at which certain rounds of ammunition would travel, and whether fireworks were legal in Arizona. Livelsberger, an Army Green Beret who deployed twice in Afghanistan, lived in Colorado Springs, Colorado, left notes saying the explosion was a stunt meant to be a wake up call for the nation's troubles, officials said last week. He left cell phone notes saying that he needed to cleanse his mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I've took. And this kind of goes to what I was saying a little bit earlier. I mean, this foreign policy and the Middle Eastern wars and all this stuff takes a toll on people, killing people relentlessly, and then finding out that you served and that a lot of these wars were based on lies. I mean, that takes a toll on people. And I think a lot of people kind of came to that conclusion over the last, particularly 10 years. The explosion caused minor injuries to 7 people, but virtually no damage to the Trump International Hotel. Authorities said that Livelsberger acted alone. His letters touched on political grievances, societal problems, and domestic and international issues, including the war in Ukraine. He wrote that the U.S. was terminally ill and headed towards collapse. Hate to say the man's wrong or that he's right. Or how's the saying go? He ain't wrong, but he ain't right. Investigators had been trying to determine if Livelsberger wanted to make a political point given the Tesla in the hotel bearing the president-elect's name. Lovelsberger harbored no ill will towards President-elect Donald Trump, law enforcement officials said. In one of the notes he left, he said the country needed to rally around him and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. All right, let's get that the hell out of here. Interesting stuff, to say the least. It is very, very odd that you would blow up a Cybertruck outside of Trump Tower when you're calling for the country to rally around those two. Now, some people were talking about how he had allegedly put a bullet through his skull, if that's YouTube friendly, and I hope it is, before everything went off. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I do think that I don't think he was entirely wrong. The country is in pretty rough shape, and I think a lot of people chose to elect Trump to kind of shape things up, right? To kind of bring about some order. Do I think he's going to do that? I Sorry about that. My internet is acting up a little bit. But that being said, um, I don't think blowing up a Tesla in front of a hotel is a very, very good way to make your points. I think there are better ways you can make those points. Uh, shooting content like I do. I try to make my points by talking to all you guys through this little camera right here and all these lights and stuff. I play music. Not that's necessarily the best way of activism, but it is a way of activism if you so choose. But yeah, just weird stuff, man. We're starting off the year with a bang, literally and figuratively. So I think that's about all I got. Next week, I have a guest who's been on the show before. We're going to talk about the vibe shift. I'm sure you guys will like the guest. I'm sure he'll bring a lot of people over, and I'm really, really excited to have him on the show. Either way, I have a couple other guest ideas. No one else really scheduled right now for the future. Next month, though, for sure, I will definitely do a show if I can make it happen with other guys from the Libertarian Institute, just like we did for the first time back in 2022. It was a couple days right after the war in Ukraine broke out. Connor Freeman, Kyle Anzalone, and Pat McFarlane. Probably open it up to some of the other guys from antiwar.com, but we'll probably do that around the middle of the month in February. Looking forward to that. Look forward to next week's show as well. I will be doing a Sunday coffee this week. I'll be going out to breakfast with my dad and brother, so I'll be in a little bit of a rush, but you guys will have a Sunday coffee next week, or on Sunday, I promise. So, with all that being said, go to tigerfitness.com/Kyle M to get yourself some supplements, some fantastic supplements, if I do say so myself. Use code Kyle at checkout there. Fox & Sons Coffee, use code Kyle at checkout there. Deemed Fit through the link below, use code SarahM25 to get yourself a little discount. A Common Crown is playing with Cultist Black February 9th. So, about a month from now, we'll be playing with Cultist Black at the Raindrop Inn 2. Really looking forward to that. Dug them quite a bit. Gonna have to listen to their music a little bit more, but if you're in the area, feel free to stop out. It's gonna be a good time. We will also be opening for Lynch Mob February 26th. That's gonna be a fun show, I'm sure. I know Matt's opened for them a bunch of times, my drummer, and he said that every single time it's a really, really good show. So really looking forward to that show as well. We have some other shows scheduled for a little bit later in the year, but we're hoping to go record sometime within the next couple months. We have a whole bunch of songs, and I'm pretty much ready to lay down all of them. I mean, if he told me like a couple 8-hour days, you just go do all your tracks and then be done, say no more. I'd be done. But that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys don't got any more super chats, I should shout out all the members. Obviously, B Cornish, a member for the last couple months. Alex Patino and Abrogate D's, thank you guys so much for being a channel member. And you too, listening right now, could become a channel member for the lowly price of $2.99 a month. I have my GoPro right here, and you're going to get lots of high definition footage of a Common Crown, all of our shows, if you become a channel member. And I'm going to start doing some commentary when I'm driving around. I have a stand in my car now, and I shot a whole video on testosterone. I'm probably going to record a few videos and then start releasing those. I don't know exactly when, but I'll probably release them to members first and then make them public and just kind of see where they go from there. So if you feel it necessary and you like to support me, you like what I do, then that is a low cost way to kind of support everything that I do here on the channel and help me, spread the message and do whatever I want to do with the channel. So anyways, I think that's all I got, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Tune in next week around the same time, and we will have another stream for you. And obviously tune in Sunday. I'm going to say probably around 10:15, maybe 9:45, depends on when I get back from breakfast, for Sunday coffee. And make sure you order some Fox & Sons coffee to go with that. But if not, bring a coffee mug, and I'll be here around 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. All right, guys, thank you so much. Oh, go subscribe to 5 till midnight, by the way. Do it now, and enjoy. Everybody have a fantastic week, and until next time, take care.